Hello and welcome to your practice. Today's class is going to be centered around your hips. It's going to be very gentle, and you might wish to have just maybe a block, maybe a bolster handy for a little bit of extra support, but these things are not completely necessary. We'll get started in child's pose. So come onto your mat, bring the big toes together, the knees apart. Let the hips melt down in towards the heels as your hands crawl out in front of you. As you settle into stillness, pull the deepest breath in through the nose to fill the lungs and the belly all the way. And sigh it all out through parted lips. Just melting into the form. And starting to draw some added length into your inhales and your exhales. Letting the breath become the focus of your mind. And pulling every cycle of breath into the belly so that you can feel it rise and fall. And these deep belly breaths help to inform the body that it's safe. And they help to draw you into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, the place where healing happens. And as we begin setting an intention today to release everything that is stagnant within you, everything that is holding you back, those negative emotions, those limiting thoughts, let them go with every single exhale. And pulling in with every inhale a new bright energy, the energy that will propel you, the energy that you wish to hold. And starting to slide your hands back in towards your knees. Come into a tabletop position. Shoulders on the wrists and hips on top of the knees. You can tuck the toes under for this one. As you inhale, sink down your belly. Raise your gaze and your tailbone. And as you exhale, round the spine. Press away the floor. Look towards the belly button. Move through a few cycles of this with your breath, your pace. And using the entire breath as a vehicle to carry you between the two postures. And keeping this breath with movement theme going, we'll just change the flow a little bit. So you'll look over one shoulder and send your hips to the opposite direction. Inhale back through center and long look over the other shoulder as the hips go away from that shoulder. Good. Couple more cycles just like that. So it's like a little side body stretch. Okay, treating all these beginning movements as just a beautiful check-in with your physical self. Just notice how the spine is moving, how the shoulders are feeling as they support you here. Good, returning back through center. Keeping your toes tucked under, extend the left leg long out to the side and plant that foot down so it's just laterally extending from your hip. And then start to melt your hips back on top of your heel. And if that's uncomfortable, you could bring your toes to the floor as well. So top of the foot to the floor, crawling the hands out. So it's like child's pose, but with the leg out to the side. And again, drawing in those nice deep belly breaths. And letting the energy within you begin to move. Cycle through. like a rinsing out. Good. Drawing the hands back in, lifting up through the hips. Bring the left knee back and we'll extend the right leg out again. Foot plants onto the floor. You could have those left toes tucked under, or that shoelace part of the foot could be down onto the floor, and start to settle the hips back. Crawl the hands forward, melting into the posture. And using the breath to allow yourself to release even deeper. So every time that you start to bump up against a little bit of rigidity within the postures, just send your breath to that location. And with the exhale, trying to clear it. Drawing yourself back on to your hands and knees, letting the toes tuck under again, and lift your hips up high, find downward facing dog. And just start to wiggle through the hips in any which way. You could pedal the heels towards the floor, doing all of those ritual things that you like to do in your first downward facing dog. Maybe a little twist. Maybe a little hammocking with the back. And on your inhale, pick up the right leg. As you exhale, bring your right shin through, just behind your wrist. So it's going to parallel to the top edge of your mat. Then lean heavy onto the right hip. We're setting up for fallen deer pose. So the right shin parallels with the top edge of the mat. The left shin will parallel with the long edge of the mat. There's like this swastika shape in the legs. Turn your torso over the right leg. Take a deep breath in, and then hinging on that hip, fold all the way down. And continue those beautiful big breaths into the belly. You might even take a moment to notice how the heartbeat slows down ever so slightly on your exhales. And with every out breath, just seeing if you can melt in a little bit more. Inhale, pressing yourself back up onto that right hip, and step the left leg all the way over top. So if the hips are really uneven here, you might extend the right leg underneath the left. That's perfectly fine for this posture. Or you could pretzel up the legs. Plant the left hand back and down behind you, just by the left hip. Inhale, reach up the right hand. Exhale, twisting to the left, hook the right elbow inside or on top of your left thigh. And this just blocks you in a little bit deeper for deeper traction. Inhale, grow really tall, tailbone to crown, and exhale, twist in even more. Gaze over the left shoulder. And with every inhale, pulling in that bright new energy. With every exhale, squeezing out what is old, what has served and is ready to go. Inhale back through center, nice and tall. Exhale, little counter twist, little bow to the right side. Inhale, rise up. And we'll take the left shin to parallel to the top of the mat and the right shin to parallel the right side of your long edge of the mat. Swastika shape in the legs again. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, lead with your heart as you bow over top of your left thigh. Embodying surrender. The surrender into the breath, into the posture itself. And keeping that reminder of the big belly breaths, that it is safe to open It is safe to go into these postures, to let go of the physical tension, of the unintentional protection that we sometimes build up around the muscles when we enter new postures. Good. Inhale, press yourself up out of there and step the right foot over top of the left thigh. So again, if the hips are a little bit uneven here and you don't like that, you can extend the left leg under and take this posture. Plant the right hand by your right hip. Inhale, reach high the left. Exhale, everything as you twist to the right. And bringing your left elbow into the right thigh and sitting up nice and tall. Inhale and exhale to gaze deeper over the right shoulder. And it really is almost like we're wringing ourselves out from the inside, but this comes with the breath. You pull in as much air on the inhale. It's almost like challenging against the lungs, like you're squishing yourself in against the organs. Everything's kind of like being really wrung out. And then when you exhale, you can twist a little bit deeper, moving into all of that new space that you've just kind of like expanded within you. Inhale, nice and tall through center. Exhale, twist to the left. Maybe a little bow. Good. Inhale, coming back through the center. And we'll take the right heel towards your right hip. Starting to just lean back a little bit. Maybe you like to lean back a little bit more, coming onto your forearms. Maybe there's space to go all the way down. Just finding your happy place there. Very slowly just starting to pull yourself all the way up out of that posture and place your right ankle over top of your left thigh. Slowly start to draw the left heel in. So you might get to a position and it's a lot. It might be enough for you there. You're just going to keep drawing it in until you have a really satisfying stretch in your right glute. So if you get your shin nice and close to your chest, you might hook your left elbow inside of the right foot and then the right inside of the elbow over top of the right knee. So you're kind of cradling your shin and you could let the left leg go. And it's nice to just give your shin a little rocking side to side. If you don't get that far, that's okay. It's still really beautiful to just be in that seated form of pigeon. Good. Releasing the right ankle down and crossing the left ankle under. So fire log pose is the next one, or double pigeon it's called sometimes. The right shin will cross in front of the left, and what we'll do is lean forward. So if you get a beautiful stretch there, you can stay with your shins as they are. I would like to cross my right ankle over top of the left knee and kind of align the knees to the feet. So you'll see there's a gap here for me. My hips are so tight. They're really strong. So if that's the case with you too, you might pop a block under there and take a deep breath in. Exhale, hinging the hips and starting to lean forward. You might find that it feels super tight at first, but eventually you could remove the block. Just again, really salt to taste. Don't go too far on this one. This is a pose where you're gonna wanna find like a 50 to 70% intensity and stay there. Don't go above that. Don't let the body be so tense that it's just too much. 2 more really deep breaths here. Beautiful. Inhale, rising up out of the posture. Uncrossing the legs. Let the right leg come long now, and the left heel, pull it up in towards your hip. Sitting up nice and tall, starting to lean back. Maybe just pressing the left hip flexor high, and you'll feel enough stretch there, or you could melt back even more onto the forearms, or maybe all the way down. Just finding your perfect place. And staying present with your body, with the posture and with the breath. Sometimes you can just focus the mind on something that you've never noticed before, about the pose, about the breath, to keep yourself present, to keep the mind from wandering. And slowly rising up out of this one. Crossing your left ankle over top of your right thigh. And very slowly we'll just start to bring everything in a little bit closer. So maybe you get here and that's good, and you just lift up your sternum and feel the beautiful stretch in your left glute. Maybe you get your shin really close and you want to find that clasp around where the hands come together, and you could have that little rocking motion of the shin. So you can just kind of play with the inactive mobility in the hip. And it feels nice. Good. And starting to release out of this one, we'll bring everything back down, crossing the right knee under this time, and maybe the left shin comes out in front for the fold, or maybe the left shin will stack on top of the right. And you can throw in a block there, or a fist even. And sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, fold. And just really starting to tune into the sensation that you're feeling. And notice how much of that might be unintentionally holding. So is your body putting up a protective mechanism around your hip because this is intense and it's strange? And if that is the case, can you just relax that the tiniest amount? Inhale, rising up out of there. Take the knees apart, feet plant on the ground, and just a few times give them a little windshield washer, side to side. Fire lug can be really intense. It's a beautiful opener. Good, all right. I'm bringing the legs both out in front now. Inhale, reach high the hands. Exhale, forward folding. So the only goal in this posture is to feel a stretch in the hamstrings. If you feel that, you've achieved it. You don't have to worry about reaching for the toes. You don't have to worry about even the knees being perfectly locked out. It's okay to have a tiny bend in there. We just want to feel the stretch. That's all. Inhale, bring yourself up. Plant your hands back and down behind you, fingertips pointing in, and just lift your hips up off of the floor. It's just meant to be a little bit of a release from the low back, from all the folding. Good, release the hips back down. And now coming onto your back, right into happy baby pose. So that could be with your knees bent and just reaching for the ankles and a little bit of rock and rolling side to side. Or you can let the knees fall beside the ribs and reach for the insides or the outsides of your feet. And move in any which way that feels like your body wants to go. That's what this posture is all about. Intuitive movement, a little bit of play, just like a happy baby, because they don't care. They're just free. And now releasing the left leg onto the floor, pull just the right knee in towards your chest. Revolved belly twist, anchor down the right shoulder. Use the left hand to pull the right knee across the body. And just coming into the pose as deep as it feels appropriate for you. So no pinching, no pain in this one. It should just be like the ultimate relaxing pose. You could use your left knee under the right to block in. Just kind of a little bit more support. Maybe the gaze is over the right thumb. Good. Inhale back through center. Extend the right leg long this time. Pull just the left knee into the chest. Anchor down the left shoulder. Use the right hand to pull the left knee over your body. Maybe the gaze is on the left thumb. Maybe the right knee bends under the left for extra support. And relax through your abdomen. Relax your glutes. Relax your forehead and your jaw. And pull everything back through center. And find your Shavasana, extending the legs out nice and long, letting the arms take up space, maybe rolling the shoulders onto the back. Pull a deep breath in through the nose, filling up the lungs and the belly all the way. Holding at the top for just a beat. Exhale through your mouth. And one more like that, the deepest breath in. Holding it in. Sighing it out. And releasing so deeply now the bones and muscles into the floor. Letting go of the breath. Letting it just be. Letting go of the practice itself. Letting go of minding the physical form as much as you can. And there is so much value in the letting go. In the releasing. The surrender to find freedom. A new sense of lightness. A calling back to your truest self. When we drop what's heavy, the masks, the roles, the expectations, and the things we can't control. Freedom is in the releasing. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you have the most beautiful day, the most beautiful week ahead. I'll leave you here. If you need a little bit more rest, you should take it. You deserve it. Namaste. Love.